Before every breakthrough, there's a question, a challenge, a moment that demands clarity. Because progress doesn't just happen, it's discovered in the patterns, in the connections, in the data. Every question holds a story waiting to be told, a story that always has a better narrative when it's told through data. And over the years, those stories have been brought to life in an entirely new way by you, the DataFam. And in doing so, you've sparked something powerful. Because data isn't just numbers and charts, it's insight, it's truth, it's the engine of progress. And now we're at the edge of something new, something revolutionary, an era where data and AI work side by side to imagine new possibilities, to see what couldn't be seen, to do what couldn't be done. This isn't about technology alone. It's about unlocking potential, your potential, the potential to see clearly and move faster than ever before, the ability to create personalized experiences at scale, the power to lead with confidence in every moment, the power of collective intelligence, to create a world where every story is heard and every person is empowered, turning information into action and action into impact. This is your moment, your opportunity to make a mark. The future is not a distant point on the horizon, it's something you shape, right here, right now. So, what will you do with it? What story will you tell? Data doesn't just reveal the world, it helps you change it.
Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing? Good to see everyone out here today. A little bit more noise, please. Hello? All right. Well, I just have to say I didn't wake up feeling 100% today, but I have a lot of passion about the things that we're going to talk about. And so if you wouldn't mind just bearing with me today, I'm holding a cup of tea, hopefully to be appropriate in terms of my voice. So anyways, it's great to be here. Great to see everyone. This is our second DataFam Europe, and it really means a lot to me that you are all here. I know we did this last year. If you were here last year, if you could give me maybe a hand so I can see a sense of repeat guests. Awesome. Great to have you. And one of the things we wanted to do, of course, is bring you to a new location because we had so much demand. I remember last year it was really warm. We had a very small room. Now it's very cold, and we have a very big room. But we're really happy to have you, and I hope you're going to enjoy the next couple days. And if I'm actually curious as well, we did this event, Tableau did in 2016, Tableau conference here at the Tobacco Dock, which is a fascinating and beautiful building in my opinion. But maybe another show of hands, who was here in 2016? Okay, that's really great. So great to have you here again. And I had all these stories I was going to tell about the Tobacco Dock, but it's just not worth it. It's going to take me too long. But one of the things that I do find interesting is if you look at 2016 to where we are now, roughly 9 years later, all of the things that have changed in our world are pretty significant. And if you think about what's happening in our industry, well, 2016, Tableau was an independent company. It wasn't part of Salesforce. We were talking a lot about, Tableau Server and maybe Tableau Cloud and some other things. But since then, we've gone down this road of, data lakehouses and warehousing and cloud analytics and, of course, agentic analytics and AI, which you can't, turn your head in any direction. You're going to see something about AI out there in the world. And so a lot has changed. But, of course, a lot has also not changed in the sense, what I would say is many things remain the same. And what remains the same is the importance of data. Data continues to be critical. It was critical. It is ever more critical now, given the AI revolution. And I don't have to tell you all that because you know it. As well as the other thing that hasn't changed is the importance of all of you, our community members, our customers, and our partners. It's really important for us to use this opportunity to celebrate and to bring you all together. And so that's really what we're here to do. And that's really why I want to say thank you. I mean, we say thank you all the time, but really heartfelt that you are here, you are giving us ideas, you are inspiring us, whether it be our product team, our engineering team, or inspiring other customers at our various events. We're very grateful for that. So thank you so much. I also want to say thank you to a number of folks who helped us, and I'm not going to get all the names right, but there were at least 3 or 4 people who helped us with this presentation to give a review of it. Again, community members at work, so thank you so much. And maybe I thought we could celebrate a little bit, just kind of looking at some of these numbers, because they're really quite amazing. And so when you look at, if again, back to 2016, we probably had maybe 700,000 to 1 million community members back then. I'm sure someone will tell me that's not exactly right, but the point being is this community continues to thrive. This community continues to grow. This community continues to develop, more and more user groups. And in fact, I was at one last night, Data Plus Women. Thank you to the Information Lab and BizStory and others. It was really great to go there because I met, just in a few minutes, a number of people who were new to Tableau, a number of people who had never used Tableau. And I thought that was quite exciting because they want to learn it, they want to understand, they want to become more competitive as they go out and look for a job now that they're out of university. And so this really excites me in terms of this growth rate. What also excites me, of course, is the fact that we're bringing you together in new ways, whether it be the Slack channel that we have or the Slack community and other events. And so, again, this event is for you, everything we've done, and thank you to our internal team at Salesforce and Tableau who have put on a great show for you today. You're here, hopefully you're going to learn, you're going to talk to people. Maybe don't talk to me too much because I might get you a cold, but just kidding, we'll talk at a distance. The point being is that we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to learn. And so let me give you an example of some of the things that I think we see that start to inspire us. And so when I look at this slide, it's really all about the community driving innovation for us. And whether it's these 4 examples here or whether it's other examples, you help us to figure out what we should be focused on, kind of the North Star. And so if I look at even what maybe Craig has done with Agentforce and Tableau Desktop, that's actually very exciting to me because it helps us to think about, maybe we should be doing more with regard to AI, not just in Tableau Next, but also in, let's say, Tableau Server or Tableau Cloud. And this is very inspiring to myself and to Southard and others, and you're going to hear about that today. Now, additional to this, of course, we want to accelerate people's work. And obviously, you see here, Marcelo has helped us to develop, Tableau visualizations and desktop designs in an accelerated way, which I think is fantastic. Similarly, you see the desktop mirroring example here from Tristan, which you don't have to publish. You can just mirror Tableau desktop scenarios without publishing, another great innovation. And then I know Will was up, I believe, with us last year, Tableau MCP on dashboard extensions. So let's give these folks a round of applause and really... I mean it in the fact that what you do helps inspire us. What you do helps to make us think about where we should be going in the future, and that is why the community is so critically important for our business and for, of course, all the customers and the partners that exist. So if we move on, we've been in this journey, right? The last time I spoke, at least to many of you, was at Tableau Conference in beautiful San Diego. And I know we also had many other trips around the globe. We had Dreamforce. Who attended Dreamforce here? Okay, so a few of you. It's okay. You don't have to go to every event. We don't want to force you. But we also know that some events are more tailored for the DataFam than, let's say, the traditional CRM user, and that's okay. But we've been on this journey across the board, and we're really starting to see momentum. We're starting to see, we obviously built a new product called Tableau Next, which is coming to life. And I think that product, I've heard from some of you, you're very excited about it. I heard from others of you, you need some help with deploying it. And we are here to help you. That is very important to us. But we are also here to help you to drive the momentum that we're seeing across the board. And if you look along the bottom, it's really about our full One Analytics portfolio, which I think we maybe don't talk about enough because, like many of you, I meet customers who are very focused on Tableau Desktop or Tableau Server, or maybe some of you just spend a lot of time in Tableau Public. It doesn't matter because all of these products are really who we are within the Tableau and the Salesforce Analytics business. And what we are focused on is trying to unify them for you. And so we're going to spend a bit of time today. You may have heard the word interoperability, talking about what that means. But our job is really to make sure that you know that Tableau is your analytics platform. And it's here, excuse me, to help you succeed in any, regardless of the role you're in, right? And maybe you're someone like me who's running a business and has high-level questions that they want answered, or maybe you're an analyst who is deep in the weeds and building data pipelines and visualizations, or maybe you're one of these new roles that we talked about at Tableau Conference, which is you are a decision architect or someone we view as strategic in terms of helping to drive the industry or drive your company or your organization to a new level, leveraging things like Tableau Next. It doesn't really matter what you do. It doesn't really matter what your role is because we are here to help you. And I think our goal as we move forward is to make sure you know that our whole portfolio is yours. Okay? And so we're going to talk about that today. The other thing that I said, and I think we all said at Tableau Conference, is that our job remains the same because we believe and we know that we're in this agentic era. And so as it relates to our job continues to be that we are here to empower you, no matter, again, where you are based, what role you're in. We believe that we need to empower you for this agentic analytics era. And it may be with Tableau Next, it may be with some other scenario. And the point being is that we want to help you. We want to partner with you, and we want you to partner with us, hence DataFam and the DataFam Europe event that we are all at. Now, you may wonder, well, that's great, it sounds great, but tell me more of what you're doing. And so what we're trying to do, at least in the near term, is show you our commitment to help invest in the community, invest in all of you, and that is what we're doing, and you're going to hear about this today. A few examples I'll call out is really around our investment in the DataFam, the community, the Tableau community, and of course, Tableau Public. Some exciting announcements coming there. My personal favorite, more innovations in Tableau Server and Tableau Cloud, because I hear this from our customers on a regular basis. Hey, what about this? What about that? What about AI for server? A lot of questions in this regard. And then we want to make it so it's easier for you to access all of our products. Easier to buy, easier to unify. Ultimately, easier to use all of the products that we have, because as you remember, I said, Tableau is your analytics portfolio and platform, and so we need to do a better job making it easy. And that's why we're here to listen to you. So that is kind of where we are. And one of if I recall, the Dreamforce presentation we did was all about powering decisions and driving actions. And as a follow-up to that, what we want to do today is dive and kind of go under the covers a bit to talk about how do we unify our products. And that's the first pillar, which is one interoperable analytics platform. And then, of course, second is we want to show you some really cool innovations. We've got some exciting things here we're going to show you. And then we're going to hear a little bit from you, our community, and hopefully get some feedback on what things are working, excuse me, how to adopt more product, and then, of course, generally, overall, some feedback. So I am now going to turn it over to my good friend and our Chief Product Officer, Southard Jones. Come on up, Southard. I won't. We'll do this. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And thank you all for being here. So there's a wonderful picture of me. That picture was on top of Data One. Who here has been on the rooftop of Data One? Anyone? Seattle? Yes? Well, if you haven't, you need to come visit us in Seattle. It's a wonderful place. The weather is just like here, like right now. Ryan started the conversation by talking about how a lot has changed in the last 8 years. And as he was saying that, I was kind of reflecting, thinking back, 8 years ago, we could have said the exact same thing. The advent of visualization capabilities completely changed the BI industry forever. And there's one group, one community who led that change. That's this. Everybody here did that. Everyone here did that. So give yourselves a round of applause. And what I'm seeing right now is the exact same thing happening. Each of you leading the next era of BI and analytics. I see each of you, as Ryan was highlighting, reaching out and developing new capabilities, learning new platforms, learning new technologies, extending your reach. And that's what we want to do. We want to enable each of you to lead the next era, because this community is better than any other community out there, and no one even comes remotely close. So let's do it. So I want to thank you for leaning in and leading the next era of analytics. And what are we here to do? We're here to help you do that. We're here to help you with a set of products and capabilities that will meet you where you're at. So whether or not that's Tableau Desktop, which is still and will always be the world's greatest tool for developing visualizations, or Tableau Cloud, if you want to reach thousands or tens of thousands of users globally in a highly secure and scalable way and give them new ways of interacting with data. Or maybe it's Tableau Server, where you want to have all those great capabilities, but you also want to control it and manage it and run it your way. Or maybe it's CRM Analytics, because you want to embed some insights inside of Salesforce. Or maybe it's Tableau Next, because you'd like to extend your existing investments and get into the agentic era. All these products that we are working as part of one tightly knit portfolio. And Ryan talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, is how do we make them interoperable? Because each of these solves a unique use case. And all of you know, whether or not using prep or desktop or cloud or server, sometimes you need a different tool for the problem you're trying to solve. And that's what we want to do. We want to give you the right capability for each of the problems you're trying to address and make them all work together so that you can pick the one you want. And we also want to make it easier for you to buy or use or purchase as well, which we'll be talking about. But I get the pleasure of leading the product and development team for Tableau. It's like the world's best job in the world. I actually get to work on a product that people love to use, as opposed to other ones. And I also have the hard part of deciding which features we work on. And that's incredibly challenging, because all of you come up with amazing ideas. And while I can't do all of them, we have done over 100 in the past year. And these are all based on your ideas. So last year, at TC, we launched the Idea Exchange. If you want, you can scan that little QR code and put in your ideas. And that is what drives our product innovation roadmap. All these ideas come from this area. This is what we work on. So whether or not that's Show Me 2.0 or our new Q&A calibration, that's like testing center for agents, or it's custom domains, these all came from your ideas. So I want to thank you for your ideas. But also, some of these come from you saying, hey, I wish these products worked better together. So we developed interoperability. Whether or not you're using Tableau Desktop with Tableau Next Semantics, or you want to use Concierge with Desktop, as you saw earlier. Thank you, Craig, for that innovation. And many of those ideas, in fact, it was here last year, and I never forget it, when Will was talking about LangChain and VizQL and VDS, and I was like, wow, now that is a genius idea. So that became Tableau MCP for Tableau Server. So that is proof that your innovation helps us build our roadmap. And in fact, we thought, many of you said, hey, we want more AI in server. Ryan mentioned that. And we committed to doing that at TC this past year. And so what I'm excited to announce is Tableau Agent for Server. Now GA today, available for all of you, is the agentic capabilities that allow you to become more productive. That means you can build better visualizations, build better and faster, more prep flows. I can get that word out occasionally. That's all available now in server. And we will continue to innovate across our portfolio. And these are based on your feedback. So thank you for that feedback as well. You'll also ask for better enhancements on Pulse. You said, hey, Pulse is really great, yet I need to be able to change some more widgets around some more. Can you provide us a forecast? Can you provide us better threshold-based alerts? Can you provide us a better Q&A experience? We've done all of that. If you have not checked out the enhanced Q&A for Pulse, we called it Pulse Discover at some point. It's enhanced Q&A. You really should. It's an incredible experience of how you get insights through natural language into your data. And for many people out there, that's the experience they want. Not all of them want to look at a dashboard. Many love dashboards, or sometimes they just want to be able to ask a quick question. Pulse enhancements give you that capability. And the last thing I want to announce today, that's GA, by the way, in Tab Cloud, is inside Tableau Next, is Inspector. Now, this is an agent, a pre-built agent that we've built on your behalf. It's an agent that behind the scenes, it's looking at your data and looking for anomalies. And you can literally type into a natural language on the agent. You can say, tell me when this metric is doing something funny or abnormal. And behind the scenes, an agent will run using deterministic algorithms and find out when something's changed you should know. It will surface that to you via an alert, and then it will tell you why. That's pretty cool. So these are the kind of agents that we're building to enable you and the people that you're working with to be able to see insights into them that you hadn't seen before. But all these, and I was only allowed to highlight 3 capabilities because they told me I had 7 minutes, which I'm sure I'm probably already over. And I would have talked about all those features on that one slide. They wouldn't let me do that. I said we should. You guys can get some feedback and tell me we should talk more about those features. But now I have to go into the next part, which is all of these things have to be able to be used in an enterprise setting, and they need to be trusted. Because if they're not trusted, you can't deploy them. So while a lot of the work is around these cool features, we also spend a ton of time ensuring that your data is secure. If you're working with anything agentic, foundational models, or any of that same station, we don't make sure through our trust layer, no data is kept. There's data masking. All of that is a ton of work. We do things like SCIM, FIPS, PII. These are all capabilities that we're releasing to ensure they can be used in a secure and trusted way. And that's something I want to impart on you because while the features are great, no one's able to deploy any of these things at scale unless they can be really trusted, especially in this era now where hacks are happening all the time. We invest a lot in that across all the areas of the platform. Now, they have to be trusted, but they also have to be integrated. And I mentioned this earlier in terms of interoperability. If there's one thing I encourage all of you to do here during the next 2 days is check out the interoperability sessions. There's hands-on sessions. There's breakout sessions. You're going to learn how you can use Tableau Desktop with Tableau Next Semantics. Or you can use some of the agentic capabilities of Tableau Next with your existing Tableau published data sources. And I don't think we have one session here, but you should check it out. There's some things online. You can even learn how to use Tableau Next Semantics with published data sources and with other semantic layers. We announced the Open Semantic Initiative back at Dreamforce. That's a new innovation we're doing as well to ensure that you have interoperability within the Tableau portfolio, but even across and outside of the Tableau portfolio. And all of this has to be AI ready. So we talked about agents that we're delivering. Concierge is an agent where I can ask some questions and get conversational analytics. I mentioned Inspector, that's now in beta. That's an agent that runs behind the scene. Those are pre-built agents. Now you can leverage them out of the box. We've built a bunch of software around it to ensure those agents work for a use case. But you might have a use case that our agents don't apply for. So I had this different use case, and Will and others have, and I'd like to build my own agent, or I want to use my own agentic platform. So we've launched MCP for Tableau Server, MCP for Tableau Cloud, and MCP for Tableau Next. No matter any of the Tableau capabilities that you're using, you can interact with it through MCP. That's Model Context Protocol. It's a way that agents have conversations with technology. That's all available. We want to make sure that's available no matter what Tableau platform you're working on. So all these come together through interoperability. I just mentioned that a second ago. And why do we keep harping on this? Because we've gotten some feedback that says, hey, Tableau Next, it's only for people who are doing stuff over here with like the Salesforce ecosystem, or Tableau Server, that's only for people in regulated industries, or Tableau Cloud, that's only for people who have the ability to use things in the cloud. I'd say some that's partly true, but what I've seen is many companies want to use all of them. And they have different use cases for different needs. And we're saying you should be able to. And that's what we're going to do. We continue to invest so you can use all of them together. Now, I've just been harping a lot about all these things. What you really want to do is actually see the product in action. So now the fun part of the keynote comes. Marag Deans, John Demby, Matthew Miller, please come up and show everybody what they've been waiting for, which is a demo.
Thank you, Southard. Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Deans. I'm a lead solution engineer at Tableau, and here today with me is John Demby, one of our directors of product management, who built out today's demo. Now, as Southard mentioned, the Tableau product portfolio helps build different analytical experiences for your different use cases. And with interoperability, we can meet you where you're at today in terms of your architecture for those analytical experiences as well. So your users can build once, use everywhere. And to look at this in action, we're going to be looking at the example of Northern Tree landscapers who have sensors for keeping your gardens flourishing, but also your houseplants flourishing as well. Now, we've just gotten a complaint into our service team from one Matthew Miller, who's calling in about an issue with one of his sensors in one of his rooms. Now, our service team is able to use Tableau Next in order to look at what's going on with the sensor, start sense checking what's going on with Matthew. And here they can see, OK, right, he's correct. The kids' room sensor, it's going a bit cold off the the chart there, so we might want to look into it a wee bit further. Now, he's saying to us that, okay, I think it's broken, but we want to start asking questions, start looking into it a little bit further here. And so with Tableau Next, we're able to start asking questions. Now, John this morning was asking me, what sort of phrases in the UK do you use when it's very cold? And I told him pure Baltic. I really like that he capitalized it as well. However, you'll see here, this isn't within the agent's lexicon, actually. Surprise, surprise. So I'm going to adopt my analyst persona, and I'm going to start adapting our agent to see if we can get this to give more useful results for our end users. Now, our service team is going to share this metric with us, and we're going to dive right in as well. So let's start where it all begins, with the foundation of trust, i.e. with Data Cloud. Now, Data Cloud is where we can get that single source of truth, where we get our data and we harmonize it, bring it together, make sure we've got that golden record such that people trust our results. And here you can see we've got all of our data streams as well coming in. So we're able to leverage our existing assets and our existing technological investments. And here I'm able to pull in my Google BigQuery sensor data with that zero-copy live connection. So we're not duplicating the data there. OK, everything looks good, so let's dive into our semantic model. And here in our semantic model is where I can start building out my use cases. Now, when I speak to a lot of customers about like AI readiness and things like that, and about getting hands-on with analytics, the most frequent question I get is them asking, how do we know we're ready for AI? And so with Tableau AI Optimizer, we now have a checklist of things that we can go through with recommended best practice on what we need to improve. And here it's saying to us, hey, you need to add a description to this calculated field. Now, who here loves writing descriptions? I'm just going to check if you did that in your spare time. Like, I know we all love it. Those who do, actually, those see me after class. But with Tableau AI, we're able to create that first draft of the description here already. So unfortunately, Southard, you're not going to be able to do that in your spare time. But there's 3 ways in which we can enrich this semantic data model. First is at the field description level, second is at the table description level, and third is with business preferences. Now, business preferences is how you translate your business lexicon, your industry lexicon, your use case lexicon into the agent. So you can add information such as pure Baltic, in technical terms, means when the temperature is below 5 degrees. Now, we had a bit of an argument about this, because I'm Scottish, he's American, but we're going with 5 degrees. And we're able to add that to our agent such that it's got more context. This is also where you add in your initializations, your acronyms, your YMCAs, your FBIs, your CIAs. But everything's looking good here. However, that original question that we had about Matthew's sensor, is it broken? Do we need to look into it further? We're going to need to pull in additional data. And for that, we're going to pull in a published data source from our Tableau Cloud site here with the weather data. So this is what Southard was talking about when he was talking about interoperability. It's not just the front end in terms of that analytical experience. It's also in the back end in terms of how we reuse assets that we've already created, how we don't have to go building out our data sources again. So everything's looking good. Let's go back to our service agent, and let's start looking into this again. And we're able to embed this information around Chicago temperatures in there, so our service agents have that context again. But we're also able to query again and start asking questions to concierge again about the weather and about asking, OK, well, he's saying the sensor was off. What was the actual temperature for the past few days in Chicago? And we're able to find out whether or not it was pure Baltic, as said previously. Now, with this, we're able to obviously upskill our Glasgow service agents and start getting questions there. And here it's able to give us a summary as to, oh, actually, it was pure Baltic these past few days. So the sensor's not broken. We don't have to waste time. We don't have to waste money sending a technician out to Matthew's house. And we're able to tell him, actually, someone's probably left a window open. So with this, we've been able to unify our data together. We've been able to enhance our semantic model. But most importantly, we've been able to create a tailored service agent that our service users can go answer questions themselves, such that I, as an analyst, can focus on more interesting use cases. Now, this has been a bit of a theoretical use case. What we're going to see now in action, though, is a real-life use case with the wonderful VP of Product Management, Matthew Miller.
Thank you. Let's give them all a round of applause. Great demo. Welcome, everyone. It's such a delight to be here. Europe is where I began my Tableau career back in 2012. I met some of you at some of the Tableau conferences that we had here back in the Tobacco Dock in 2016. And it's such a delight for me to be back and see so many friends and get to know so many new people. The Data Plus Women event was amazing. Now, as Morag and John said, typically the demos that you see in a keynote like this are with synthetic data, which makes sense. We can't use real customer data. That would be wrong, wouldn't it? And usually the scenarios are fictitious, and that's okay too. I mean, I think you all know that Morag and John don't actually work for a company called Northern Tree Outfitters, and that's okay. But this demo is going to be a little different. This is personal. I'm going to tell you a story about how Tableau has helped me and my family see, understand, and act on data in our home. So we had a problem. We have in our backyard in suburban Chicago this pine tree. And this is a photo of it. It's a spruce tree. And this is how it looked earlier this summer. It was dying. And that would be sad, because I like it. It's got a great shade it provides to my house. I think it looks good. Besides, it's tremendously expensive if I have to remove it. I want the outcome of a healthy pine tree in my backyard. So I called a tree doctor, an arborist, who came over, and he said, well, you know, the problem is it's quite dry. You just need to keep the soil moisture between 40 and 60% average humidity, and it'll turn itself around, and that'll be $400. Then he left, and I stood there looking at the tree going, how on earth am I going to do that? I don't know what that, do I just like put my thumb in the dirt every morning? I don't know, Paul Banoob, how do you transform a tree? I don't know. So here's what I did. I went and got a little IoT sensor, and I stuck it in the ground. That's circled there, and I pulled in the data that thing emitted, and it looked like that. I mean, you can just see the insights flowing directly out of the data from this sensor. No, of course, I brought it into Tableau, and I visualized it. And immediately I saw some things. So this is the soil moisture of my backyard pine tree. Anyone, I know we have a lot of analytical minds in this room, anyone guess what those spikes are? Rain, precipitation, right. Well, one of the powerful things about Tableau is it's so easy for me to go and bring in external data. So I visualized it. I put a reference band for where that is. It means that I can see here, if I select these values, you can see where the trend was, whereas now, and this is real data, by the way, this is coming straight from my tree in Chicago right now. And so I'm going to go and bring in some weather data. It's just that easy. And many of you know this. We're kind of grounding on the experience that we've known in Tableau for years. I'm going to connect to data live. And we'll take a look at this weather data. This gives me the precipitation over the last, I think it's 90 days or so, as it processes my CSV and sends some data to the server. And then I'm going to bring that in. And sure enough, what you're going to see is every single one of those spikes, that's when it rained. No surprise. So let's go get my CSV in here any second. I think we might skip the CSV. There we go. All right, so I've already mercifully joined that data already, so I can press on without sending any data to the server. And there we go. All right. So now I've added my rain. And look, I know this is really hard for me. That's why I said most keynote demos are polished and beautiful. I'm not going to win Iron Viz here. I know there's some Iron Viz winners in the room. You like the little icons? I thought that was a nice touch. You can see every time it rained, there was a spike. There's some other cases, though, where you can see where the humidity started to go up. And that's when I went out there and stood there and watered that stupid thing, right? Well, this is the power of Tableau. We can see and understand data. But I did the work to connect to the data. I brought in the weather information. I built my visualization. And I'm just so embarrassed to show my dashboards in front of some of the greatest data visualization experts I know. But there it is. It's not the prettiest thing. I even have forecast data. Look at that beautiful thing. And I had to. It's a pine tree map. I had to. Thanks. Yes, I really greatly appreciate that. But here's the thing. What I really wanted, though, right, is I wanted to have these insights come to me automatically. And many of you have used Tableau Pulse, so I started using Tableau Pulse to track this. And the cool thing is Pulse built the vizzes for me. And the message I want you to take away from this demo is that Tableau is this brilliant engine, not just for visualization and dashboards, but for, I got it, it's all A's, accurate, actionable, analytical answers on any data for any person, anywhere. There you go. 7 A's. I wanted to get more value out of the Tableau work I'd already done. And Tableau Pulse did that for me. Just a couple of clicks. I didn't have to drag and drop a darn thing. It built this viz for me and found these insights and put them on my phone. Well, this is where this gets kind of fun. So my wife, Becky, is a brilliant, brilliant person. She's very smart. She's very analytical. She's a PhD candidate. She's a nerd. She did her undergrad on Tolkien's use of poetry, all right? She's a nerd. She's not a data nerd. I've been using Tableau a long time, and I keep trying to get her to use Tableau Desktop. She's just never going to drag and drop. She's my prototypical business user. But she saw this, and she said, ooh, what's that? I said, that's Tableau Pulse. And she said, well, you know, we have this fiddle-leaf fig in the dining room, and we've actually killed 2 of them so far because they get dry. Do you think you could set that up for me? So I bought another of these sensors. Y'all, I'm here to tell you, my home, and this is just a subset of them, my home is full of these sensors. We have them in every plant, in every room, tracking every possible thing, including, I literally don't even know what potted plant of unknown provenance it is in the living room. So here's what we started doing. We started creating these metrics in Pulse, and Pulse starts creating the insights and building the vizzes automatically. And Becky loves this. She gets this on her phone every day, and this is real live data. This is literally from my house. You can see where my Wi-Fi was down some point during Thanksgiving week. But look at this. It's found these insights automatically and brought those to me. So I'm getting more value out of the Tableau work I already done with no additional effort. Tableau's doing that for me and giving it to me in new places and in new ways. And now with Pulse Discover, I can actually just talk to this. Here's a summary of what's going on with the potted plants in my house, my front lawn. And then I can just ask it, could you describe what's going on with humidity in my data set in Tolkien terms? Let's see here. I've got this one cached up as well in case the Wi-Fi lets me down again. All right, we're going to skip to the cached one. The journey of humidity, like rise of the sun over the Shire, humidity has increased by 11.4%. Your use case may vary. So I started thinking, what are some other ways that I can start to leverage this data in new ways? Some of you have played with or explored VDS, the VizQL Data Service. And the reason I show you all this is because for some of you, you go, yeah, I've used those tools. I know there's Tableau visionaries in the room who've played with all these features. But for some of you, you may be thinking of Tableau the way it was 15 years ago. Oh, Tableau, it's just a chart tool, just a visualization tool. No, this is an engine for, wait for it, actionable, accurate, analytical answers for any person on any data, anywhere. I nailed it, Samuel. So this is Python code. Can that leverage Tableau? Yes, it can. I can click play, and that's connecting in to the same data source. So I'm getting more value out of the same work that I've done. This is Claude. I'm using the new Tableau MCP server, and I get, here it is, that's my current humidity. Notice it's the same accurate, actionable, analytical answer, but everywhere. And that is the Pine Tree demo. Now, I had been showing this to customers in casual settings. You know, normally I would do the kind of corporate demo, the Superstore, Tables in the East demo. And then I would say, well, by the way, I actually have a quantified self-story, and I would close by sometimes showing this demo. And one of my colleagues saw it and said, you've got to show that in the keynote. You have to show the Pine Tree demo. So this is the Pine Tree demo. But you probably aren't trying to achieve the same outcome that I am. You're not trying to keep a pine tree alive and healthy. So as we go into the next section of this, I want you to substitute in your mind, every time I say pine tree or humidity, what are the KPIs that you're trying to drive? What are the outcomes that you're trying to achieve in your organization? It might be supply chain optimization. It might be marketing funnel conversion. It might be lead generation. Whatever the thing is that you're trying to drive up or drive down, the outcome you're driving toward, substitute that as we go on a tour of all the places, because this is what I did. I took this bit of analysis that I'd done and said, where are the other places where Tableau can unlock value? Because for too long, for people to get insights, they had to leave the places they work and go into some other analytical tool to find an answer. But this is all about infusing those accurate, actionable, analytical answers everywhere. All right, you ready to see a few more places? Not a lot of enthusiasm. All right, there we go. Next. What about Slack? Well, of course we can do Slack. But here I am in Slack. I got a Slack from my colleague John Demby. That's my fiddly fig. The dining room, the same metric surfaced right here. I've got questions. There are answers about all my IoT data surfaced right here in Slack. Well, we don't use Slack, we use Microsoft Teams. Can you help us? Oh, yes, we can. And here we are, the same accurate, actionable, analytical answers everywhere, right here. As soon as the Wi-Fi kicks in, I promise you're going to see my pine tree showing up right here in Teams. I can share these live in meetings. I can put these in DMs. I can put them in group chats. And come on now, it will load here. We'll see. There we go. All of my vizzes right here in Teams. So I've got these in collaboration tools. What about office productivity? Well, yes, we can. Right there, thanks to the new Google Workspace plugin. This is my pine tree showing up right there. And with one tap, we unfurl. We get a summary of all the insights that will load here in just a second. There's all the insights behind this. Again, no additional work. You get all this for free. Just want to challenge the perception. If you think Tableau is just for charts, well, I'm here to tell you, it's 2025. There's so many cool new things. Besides slides, what about docs? That's right, I can insert my pine tree visualizations right here. What about spreadsheets? Do we like tables of data? Tables are okay. Tables are not a dirty word. I can just check this out. This is so cool. So this is data from the 19th of November. Let's get the latest. One click to refresh. This goes straight to my data model with my trusted context for me as a user, all the calculations that I'd already defined, the same data model that's powering everything you've seen so far. The vizzes, the drag and drop experience, the dashboards, everything, there it is. That's all the latest readings directly from my pine tree. What about in Salesforce? Well, yes, Tableau Next. All of this can leverage the same data that you saw there. This dashboard you're looking at here, this is powered by the same semantic model, the same data source. You start to get it? It's accurate, actionable, analytical answers for any person on any data, anywhere. And so I've been doing this in a demo. It's not something I actually designed. It was just, this is a problem I had, and Tableau is a tool I have access to. And I didn't even intend to show this in a keynote, and I felt a little sheepish when they were like, hey, do you want to show this? I mean, does anybody here really care about my pine tree? No. But like me, you probably realize that data analytics are all a means to an end, and that end will differ for every single one of us. Our organizations all have different outcomes we're trying to drive. So whether that's supply chain efficiency or lead generation or loans originated, or in my case, just trying to keep a nice, beautiful pine tree alive. That's the pine tree demo. And this photo is from just a couple days ago. Look at it. You can see the needles are starting to come back. It's starting to look healthier. The tree doctor tells me that for another $400, he'd be happy to come back and check on the soil moisture. So that's the pine tree demo. Thank you. But wait, one more thing, and I'm already getting the nod that I got to go. All right, this is something that no one has seen yet anywhere, and may yet not if it doesn't work. This is bleeding edge stuff, not yet released, early innovation. You want to see it? This is what DataFam Europe's all about. Recently, we announced as Salesforce a partnership with OpenAI, and that same week, OpenAI announced upcoming, and they're not released or available yet, ChatGPT apps. So everyone knows ChatGPT, a conversational text-based interface. Well, ChatGPT apps are interactive experiences that application developers like Tableau can combine right in the flow of conversation. So that is what we're going to show you is a very, very, very early preview of some of our explorations of that, but it's a really exciting new paradigm. So in this case, we're going to step away from pine trees for a second and pretend that I'm running a little cafe. It's the fall, and I'm selling a lot of apple cider and donuts, and I want to know how my chain of apple cider selling stores is doing. I'm just going to ask, how's my business doing? Now, what I'm used to seeing, well, first I'm going to add my app. When I click plus, you'll see next to the things you're used to in ChatGPT, you'll see an app selection. I add this app and just say, how's my business doing? And what this does is it reaches out to Tableau in my trusted context, and in addition to the text answers we're used to seeing in ChatGPT, this is going to actually go and pull in analytical app sets analytically and visually and interactively right into the flow of the conversation. I hope the Wi-Fi keeps up before I get gonged off of the stage. Yes, there we go. This is my business summary, so I get the text analysis that I'm used to, and also visualizations. Awesome, there we go. With my in-store sales, product sales, and these insights are brought right to me. But check this out. When you interact with these visualizations, you're sending back the equivalent of paragraphs of context back to the model. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Just simply by tapping on this, what's driving Main Street sales? Now, I could type all that out, but this is one tap to send all that data in that context. And look, it continues the conversation as if I'd typed out, hey, here's all the data. I'd like you to focus on that particular insight. It's one tap to get the additional information. So now that's taken us to the next level. And watch as I interact with this. The viz is filtering and interacting. This is live. It's not a screenshot. And when I tap, all the context of my interactions and what I'd selected are passed back directly to the model. This is a whole new way of seamlessly bringing together the interactive analysis that Tableau is legendary for with these conversational experiences that have been so transformative. And here it's even said, hey, if you can bring me some additional data, I can do some additional analysis for you so I can combine ad hoc data with governed data on the fly. Here's the events from the Chamber of Commerce. Don't even have to spell it correctly. That's how cool this is. And it will take my data set, upload that securely into my personal space, begin to analyze that, and build assets for me on the fly. This is all very, very new. We're still exploring this. So everything you saw up until now, genuinely available. If you're not taking advantage of that stuff, the Google Workspace integration, the Teams and Slack integrations, go get those now, the Slack integrations. And this is all stuff that's coming in the future. All right. Thank you all so much. We hope you've enjoyed the Innovation Showcase. And now, to hear from our customers, it's our CMO, Rekha Srivatsan.
I know I can speak for a lot of you, but we do care about your pine tree. It was so wonderful to see that coming back to life. So thank you for doing what you do. Hi, everyone. My name is Rekha Srivatsan, and I'm the CMO for Tableau. This is my first DataFam Europe, so I'm so thrilled to be here. And I want to give a huge shout out to all of you who braved the weather to be with us today. So thank you for coming. So now I have the distinct pleasure of bringing together a panel of community members and customers to talk through Tableau and all things fun and learning through that. So please join me in welcoming Zainab, Ellie, and Luke. Please join me on stage. We have an incredible panel, and I'm going to try to run through all of our questions, but we'll be around today, so if you have more questions, please join us and talk through us. So thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, can you quickly introduce yourselves?
Yes, hi everyone. I am Zainab Ayodimeji. I am a senior data scientist at Spotify, where I sit in the central insights team within what we call Experience Mission. But basically, it's part of the organization that gets to control or shape Spotify that you know today on mobile, but also how Spotify works on speakers, car, everywhere, etc. I am also a Tableau ambassador, really honored to say that, 5 years now in a row, and I co-lead the London Tableau user group. So, thank you.
Awesome. Ellie?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellie Slater. I am the enablement manager at the John Lewis Partnership. I have been there for a few years now, working on the Tableau enablement, and now work through all of our data insights and AI enablement. I also am part of the DataFam, and I lead the Data Plus Women London chapter for the last 5 years now, and I'm a 3-time Tableau ambassador.
Whoa.
Morning, everybody. My name's Luke. I head up the BI team at Moonpig. I've been a Tableau user since 2016. I'm not as hands-on as I once used to be, but strategically now we are looking into all of the new features and also reusing some basic existing features in a new way to try and deliver insights more quickly to our commercial team.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. So I have a first question for you, Zainab. So we hear a lot about data. We also see a lot of AI. There's just an abundance of all of them. And there's a lot of noise that comes with it. So how do you separate the real business opportunity, but at the same time, make sure that your insights are trusted and accurate? How do you handle that?
That's a very loaded question.
I agree.
But yeah, I think one thing I should say is that at Spotify, we've kind of generally cultivated this mindset. We've approached AI with a lot of curiosity. So we've tried it out a lot. And with that kind of came an explosion of creativity. So more ideas, more prototypes, quicker, faster than ever, more insights, etc. But also the other part of that is it's just so much noise. How do you really filter out what is important? And I think one principle for me that I've really been kind of have like as a mental model is to really have that bias for action and impact. And it's not like a groundbreaking idea, but I'll give you an example. So I was working on an insight report to, understand like engagement and user behavioral trend across different segments, etc. And I had my insights in a deck, and as most people do, I put it in ChatGPT and say, help me rewrite this insight. And it came back with like, I think 10 bullet points, and I was like, wow, like these are all really interesting points. I hadn't thought about framing, my insight in this way. I hadn't thought about communicating it in this way. But then I had to take a step back because something felt amiss. It just felt like, okay, this is all interesting, but it's interesting, useful. And I think, am I, kind of shifting that work of finding what is meaningful and actionable for myself? Because now it helped me to be faster, but am I shifting that work to the stakeholder that is going to use this to make a decision, which would then take them longer and over time erode trust and all those things. So I think just taking a step back to scrutinize everything like the output of AI and saying actually it's interesting, but it's not really useful or it's not really actionable, or will it actually help me to influence the decision I'm trying to for the stakeholders. And I think to add to that, another part is just experimenting with AI. Honestly, the best way to know what is valuable is by using it. So we have this culture of hackathons, so hack days, hack weeks. The other day I was trying out the Tableau MCP. I think it's really cool. I'd love to try out the Tableau in ChatGPT. I think that's nice. But people are trying out different agents, building agents, trying to vibe code something. Because while that might feel like a waste of time at the beginning, there's a long-term payoff where you now actually start to decide, okay, figure out this is what is useful, this is what is worth investing more time in and more resources in. And over time, hopefully, you can also say, actually, this is how we can make this better, more accurate, etc. And then hopefully, some of that noise will reduce. And, as a company, we've actually seen ourselves getting better at figuring out this is a lot of slop and this is actually what's real. So, yeah.
I love that. And I think the humans in the loop is such an important concept. People often forget that when you key into ChatGPT and the result that come out of it, it's not going to be always accurate in the sense that the way you want it. So adding that extra layer and adding that extra set of governance is going to be critical. I love how you're thinking about it. Luke, building on that actually. So you know how we talk a lot about agentic analytics, and it's always going from from a reactive state to a more proactive state. How has AI helped you or your team, and what are some of the results that you're seeing with that?
So I'm going to be a little bit controversial and not talk about AI, but talk about an existing Tableau feature that is super basic, but we're using it in a different way. So Tableau alerts, which people can set on metrics. I think that feature was mainly developed for business stakeholders to track metrics, and they can be notified in Slack when a metric hits a certain level and all that kind of stuff. Now, we're using it as a data team. I won't get too technical, but we hide containers in our dashboards with secret metrics that no one can see, but we still set alerts on to analyze the accuracy of the data in a dashboard. So at Moonpig, we have a very high frequency transactions. People buy cards and gifts every single second. And every hour, our commercial team wants to get the latest view on how the business is doing. Now, if metrics are going up and down, even 0.5% can actually make thousands of pounds worth of difference, which as a data person, 0.5% is not actually that much, and it stresses me out quite a lot. So what we've set up is using Tableau alerts to proactively tell us whether or not tolerance bands are in or out of tolerance, whether an hourly extract refresh has refreshed successfully but pulled in no data. And we get alerts in Slack so that we can proactively go in, get on certain Slack channels. We have war room Slack channels where we can say, don't use this just yet, give us an extra 5 minutes, we need to repull the data. Now, fortunately, it doesn't happen very often, but we thought using those features for a data purpose rather than a commercial or a business stakeholder purpose is actually a new way of using it. And because we're using Tableau extracts, that does feed into Pulse and other features. So it actually has a wider ranging impact. So we're also building out other tools, which I can talk about later. But for us, that was actually a new, innovative way using a really basic feature that has made us more proactive than reactive in communicating out to our stakeholders.
I love that unlock, and this is not a paid promotion activity, so thank you for sharing that about the Tableau alerts. Ellie, I have a question for you. we spent a lot of time earlier today talking about interoperability. And for us, it's not just a feature. It's definitely part of our strategy. And that's how we are, like Sadod mentioned, the whole platform and the product roadmap is built around that. How is it in your world when you have to seamlessly move between cloud, server, Next, or CRMA even? How do you see that, and how has that accelerated your transformation?
Yeah, so I think interoperability is so key, and I think that it's really part of our strategy to make our users as seamlessly onto our platforms as possible. And I think that from a user point of view, if you're having to log into loads of different places, you've got 5 different tabs open, it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming, and I think that part of the challenge with adoption of any data platform, data program, or even AI product is around kind of changing that barrier to entry. And if you have it all in one place, so we use Tableau Cloud at the partnership, and within that you've got Tableau Prep as well. So they can have all of that in one system. They can use an agent and get support on building their dashboard as well directly in one tab. But even Tableau working alongside of our other products. So we have an Insight Intranet Hub, and we can embed dashboards directly into that site alongside slides. And that means that the information is surfaced in one place for our users or even our developers. But going beyond that as well, so on shop floors, we have handheld devices, and changing the way that we use Tableau from a dashboard into a Tableau mobile-friendly version means that it's actually saved our business managers on shop floors a couple of hours a week, and they can put that directly into getting customers information and value from our customers rather than spending time digging out and finding analytics. So I think having it and meeting it within one system and within where our users are actually communicating is vital. And especially from on surfacing Tableau metrics directly in Slack has been a game changer for our online trading teams. They can immediately know which lines are 10% down on their SKUs and things, and they can then go into the actual action and call to action rather than spending a few hours of their time finding out the insights.
I love that. And I think for us, we've always been anchored heavily on meeting you or giving you insights where you work. And that happens to be Slack or CRM or, you saw from Matthew, the variety of channels that we're able to meet you. I have a follow-up question for you on that. So, as you think about all of this, there is the governance aspect of it when it comes to trust or security or transparency or data quality. How do you adopt, or how do you help the users adopt that?
Yeah, so I think that comes down to layers of governance with certification layers. So with Tableau, you've got the certification mark. But I think it's also around remembering that these are people using products, and they have fears about how to use it in their day-to-day life, or might do. And so it's about that communication layer and that support layer. So when rolling out a new product, a new feature, it's all kind of about communication. It's about showing that you've thought about guardrails, it's the best practice documents, and it's about building that people-first approach to adoption. So when we are rolling out Tableau Pulse, for example, across our stores, over 400 of them in Waitrose, we have a champion in every single store. So that allows us to keep them informed, because there's always new developments going on, new metrics hitting Pulse, new ways of working with it. So that allows that champion, that person, to be a real point of contact for that store. So people out there using it might have questions around it or might be curious about whether the data can be trusted or not. That champion is that point of contact for them to ask those questions and to build that trust and to show that kind of network. They also then get special enablement sessions, and it builds up a store-to-store network as well.
I love that. I think we are on to our last question. Zainab, this is for you, and anybody else, feel free to chime in. When you look back at whether that was the AI or BI revolution that we've done so far, what are some of the lessons or best practices that's helped your team go through this transformation?
I think there's just this heavy reinforcement that the underlying data still matters. So we are really, it's always mattered, but I think, garbage in, garbage out, but in the world of AI is orders of magnitude much more important. So we are really investing more in that data layer, making sure that metrics are defined and taxonomy of fields are aligned, and documentation. So that, whether that be in a schema documentation, but also one approach or one different approach I think I've seen us have success with when it comes to documentation is we have documentation for humans and documentation for bots. Because with say, for example, I build a dashboard and I'm trying to say, this is how you use the dashboard. For humans, how you read that, it's very different. Whereas for bots, you try to make it very like, these are the rules, exactly, right. Much more like concise. And we've actually seen success with like, when we then ask questions on top of that, we get better response with AI. So I think that's definitely like a big lesson. Another lesson that I would say is just that, I guess, that human judgment. I think, I say as data scientists, the reason why we are being paid is to help people make decisions. And whilst like AI can help you go from 0 to 1, it can do some of that groundwork. It's fantastic at doing some of that groundwork. Moving from 1 to 1.1, which is where that like, extra bit of refinement, extra bit of fine-tuning your insight and taking a step back and scrutinizing everything that you're saying for accuracy, etc. I think that is still very important. And I think it has forced us to, have more discernment, forced us to pay more attention to details, etc. So I'll say, those are some of the biggest lessons, so far.
I love that. I love the documentation for humans and the documentation for agents. Awesome. Thank you all three for joining me today on this panel. And we are about to wrap up our keynote today. So I have quick hits that I just want to make sure that you're aware. The first one is, if you're not already on the Slack community, definitely join us. You're going to hear more about best practices or just questions. I have been engaging quite a bit in the community, just understanding the questions that you're getting, the type of documentation that we have to prepare. But at the same time, I love some of the ideas that come through too. And the number 2, we have a hackathon in progress. If you haven't seen that, definitely take a look at it on social. It's every time we do a hackathon, we are blown away by the amount of projects and ideas that come through, and we can't wait to see what comes up next. And then the last one is we are doing a lot more across the on-site activation. So if you're just getting started, go through some of the sessions we have. My favorite thing is definitely the T-shirt printing. We have some incredible swag there. I love DataFam swag, so I hope you all do, but go check that out. And with that, thank you. And one last call out is, I know this was cold, but if you want to come back to sunny California, we are back to TC in May. It's going to be in San Diego again, like this year. So please join us. Can't wait to see you there, but thank you for joining us today.